Good afternoon and welcome to CEC Gurukul lecture. In continuation with the series on symbolic expression, we have with us our expert, Ms. Manisha. She is going to translate the lecture in sign language. For discussion, we have a topic is cultural understanding of market and economy. When we try to understand market and economy, we have seen that for very long time it was monopolized by economists. Why? Because economists were studying the individual behavior of the market, the firm, and market was assumed to be an economic or material institution. With the emergence of a subdiscipline called economic sociology, a number of economists and sociologists started understanding the interdisciplinary approach to study of market and economy. In this lecture, we are going to focus on the work of a particular American sociologist. Her name is Viviana Zelizer. She is using a cultural perspective to understand market and money. So, through the lecture we will see that market is not necessarily a place only for economic transaction. It can have a emotional and a cultural transaction as well. Market is not singular. There can be multiple forms of market. So, let us now understand Viviana Zelizer's approach to study market and money. In 1980, American sociologist Zelizer used an explanation of economic life based on empirical research. She rejected the economic models dichotomized into cultural or social structural argument and aimed towards an interactive theoretical model that explored and explained the complex historical, cultural and social structural variability of economic life. So, this is the core argument that market behavior are cultural specific. Market is a cultural construct. In her work, Viviana Zelizer attempts at document the effects of non-economic factors in the development of American economic institution. And one of the most demanding institution that emerged in a large way in America in the 80s and 90s was the life insurance company. So, she does a research of the life insurance company and brings out the emotional and cultural dimension of the market. As an illustration, why she chose the insurances, because it will reflect both sides of economy and culture. The intersection of monetary interest with sacred concern. And what is sacred? Our family with whom we are so connected emotionally and monetary or materially. A question that she tried to answer is, how does life insurance entrepreneurs successfully establish monetary equivalence for life and death? So, there is a dichotomy. One is our life, which we kind of treasure. On the other side, we are monetizing death, which is associated with pain, death which is associated with lot of violence, is associated with lot of negativity. So, how does the insurance company bind the two, life and death, for making profit? Insuring life is therefore a case study of the non-economic aspect of economic behavior. In another paper titled Morals and Market, Zelizer stressed the cultural response to life insurance, examining changing attitudes to the monetary evaluation of human life, as well as the effect of changing cultural definition of risk and gambling on the development of life insurance. So, there is a lot of kind of risk as well associated, and movies and teleserials have shown that people are also doing a lot of gambling. They kind of take a life insurance policy and then pretend to be dead just to ensure that they get that money in their name. So, how are we looking at it? On one side, how are we kind of monetizing the entire process of emotions? And if you look into the advertisements of life insurance companies, they kind of show you that the more amount you invest in life insurance is an indication that you love your family members more. So, there is a kind of a lot of playing with emotions. There is a lot of kind of playing with the idea that one will invest more in life insurance. Why? Because they love their family member, they love their relative. On the other side, there is a negativity as well. The people who are going to get the insurance money would then wait for the death of that person. So, it is a kind of a connection that we need to understand if we are going to understand a process like life insurance. When we look at Zeliza's works, he is talking about morality and market. Do we have any kind of morality when we kind of talk about business, we talk about economic activities, or we are kind of immoral in the society? How do we do away with our emotions when we are connecting with material aspect? So, it also includes the effect of structural factors, exploring for instance the strains of shifting from a gift type system of social exchange in assisting the bereaved to an impersonal market system. Life insurance revolutionized not just the meaning of death, but also its management. So, if a person who dies had a huge life insurance, are the left ones going to be happy about it because the money is going to be credited to the bank, or they are going to be sad that they have lost someone who was very close and dear to them? The other area which Vivenia Zelizer study is children as economic resources. She looked at children as economic resources in her work titled Prizing the Priceless Child, the Changing Social Value of Children. In this work, Zelizer examined the interaction between economic and non-economic factors, specifically between the market or price defined as economic worth and personal and moral values. She examines three major institutions involved with economic and sentimental values of child life. Number one, children's insurance. Number two, compensation for wrongful death of children, and adoption and the sale of children. So, we know that there has been increase in trafficking of children for sex work or for other kind of monetary benefit. So, where is the question of morality? Does it imply that economic behavior is absence of morality, or do we kind of negate morality to make more profit? Another area of work of Zelizer is the social meaning of money. Here she is using the phrase special monies, money in plural, and this is the third stage in her research program, a theoretical and empirical analysis of the social functions of money. So, money is not only to go to the market and buy a product. Money has a social meaning. It directly tells you the status that you have. It directly tells you about your occupation. It tells you about your lifestyle. It tells you about your educational background. So, that is what implies when we use the term social meaning of money. The classical interpretation of the development of the modern world portrays money as a key instrument in the rationalization of social life. So, if we go back to the theories of social change, what did industrialization do, or what did globalization do, and that for matter, how did capitalism bring about a change? The distinction was the money. So, if we do a comparison between the simple and advanced society, we see that the simple society did not have market, they did not have monetary exchange. So, money was one of the key variable for the emergence of industrialized, advanced, and also area which was saying that we are becoming more rational in our approach to, because it was based on calculation, it was based on how much you pay, how much you earn. So, there were equations, they were kind of formulas which kind of started regulating life. Money is the most material representation of the market, is defined as the ultimate objectified, homogenizing all qualitative distinction into an abstract quantity. So, we see why do we kind of have a monetary value which is common for all European countries. So, it represents that the transactions are going to take place in one particular currency. It is kind of considered as a labeling aspect. However, what we refuse or we cannot ignore is that it will also kind of have a social meaning in different contexts. In article called Beyond the Polemics of Market, Vivinia Zelizer critiques the economic market models and offers three orientation. Number one, the boundless market model. Number two, the subordinate market model. And number three, multiple market model. According to the boundless market model, an ideological critique of the power of the market that centers on the destructive social, moral and cultural effects of commoditization. Commoditization again comes in with the importance of money. And if we look into Karl Marx theory, he says everything has a material value. So, even human beings becomes like a commodity for sale and purchase in the market. So, this is the kind of commoditization which will kind of considered as destructive or is considered as negative when we look into the social relations. If we look into the subordinate model, the second model, a more fundamental rejection of the accepted instrumentalist paradigm of market by demonstrating the ongoing cultural, structural and historical constraint of the supposedly autonomous market. So, market was assumed by economists as autonomous. However, if we look into the ways in which market functions, they are not autonomous, they are regulated, and they are regulated by the political authority or regulated by the social and cultural dimensions as well. This model of subordinate market offers two alternative conception of the market. Number one, the cultural alternative, where a market is seen having a multiple sets of meanings. Number two, the social structural alternative, where the market is seen as a set of social relations. So, if we go to any market, do we see that there is no divide between the rich and the poor? Would the market, say the salesperson or the shop owner behave in the same manner with say so assumed to be a rich buyer, or say a man who walks in with a tattered or a poor beggar? The reply is no. So, your social relations also affect your economic interactions. The multiple market model, which is the third model according to Zelizer, the market is seen as interaction of cultural, structural and economic factor. So, in this multiple market model, Zelizer argues that the market represents the most alternative to the neoclassical paradigm of the market. Why? Because the neoclassical paradigm or the neoclassical model of the market was a uniform, universal, autonomous market. Now, Zelizer is saying that there are multiple markets, they are cultural specific. So, it is critiquing the neoclassical theory. As an interactive model, the multiple market model precludes not only economic absolutism, but also cultural determinism or social structural reductionism in the analysis of economic process. Although it says some of the underlying theoretical assumption of the subordinate market model, the multiple market approach rejects one-dimensional, idealist or instrumental interpretation. It is thus conceptually equipped to develop a fuller sociological alternative to the economic model of the market. Market is analyzed as one category of social relations, which involves consumption, production and exchange under a variety of cultural and structural setting. The theoretical and empirical puzzle thus turns on determining the social and cultural variation of these multiple markets, and this will kind of start critiquing the classical work of anthropologists and sociologists who, for example, went to the Trobriand and comes back and say that they do not have a market system. Why? Because the market was different from what was there in the Western countries. They were not understanding the fact that there could be different meanings of the way in which interaction or the way in which consumption, production and investment takes place. So, the multiple market model differs in a fundamental way with the second model, which is the subordinate market. As an interactive model, the multiple market model rejects the option of a boundless market unrestrained by culture and social structure, but also the notion of a subordinate market determined by either culture or social structure. Although to be sure, cultural and social structural analysts recognize on an ad hoc manner the existence of alternative explanatory factors, and the central argument is frequently reductionist. The concept of multiple market also provides a positive point of theoretical departure for economic sociology. It gets away from the useful but ultimately negative task of correcting the economic model by bringing out the non-economic element of economic life. The add-on corrective technique, in fact, allows economics to define the terms of the discourse. The result is not just a matter of rhetoric advantage, but this approach perpetuates a conceptual flaw. Now, when we try to look into the understanding of market from the alternative suggested by Vivian Zelizer, it is actually testing the limits of the market. That is, how far can we understand market from a monetary perspective or from the fact that it is only to do with material transaction. Each of the three alternative conceptions of the market involves a set of distinctive fundamental assumptions. For instance, the moral revisionism of the boundless market model is based on the following 5 premises. Number 1, acceptance of the dominance of the market in modern society. So, we know that most theories of advancement of society gives us the theory that simple, primitive, old age society, the market was not present. The market was symbolic of development. Market was symbolic of the modern society. Number two, a dichotomization between the market as an amoral cash nexus and sacred social and personal non-instrumental values. So, in the market your personal emotional feelings had no space. You could not be personal about it, or you could not have individual likings, disliking about it. It was a amoral and a non-instrumental space. The third, the market as ever expanding and destructive force that by penetrating all areas of life makes the market and the non-market dichotomy dangerously precarious. That is much of the theories again by sociologists to say that because the money is becoming so important, that we are forgetting our family values, or we are forgetting our culture. We will see a lot of, say, Bollywood or Hollywood movies kind of giving us this idea that market is dangerous, market is destructive. Why? Because it is going to do away with your social fabric, it is going to do away with the social relation. So, why was this assumption there? This assumption was there because the market and social was seen as completely different. Now, when we have an alternative and we see that both the sides are kind of connected to each other, we will not necessarily look at market as destructive. So, once market exchange enters, self-interest displaces all non-instrumental social ties. The fourth assumption is that the intrusion of the market in the personal, social and moral areas of life leads to the degradation or dissolution. The only protection of non-economic value is made possible by number one, an insulation process, the existence of normative constraint that preserves certain item outside the caste nexus. So, many a time we have seen people saying that don't go after money, it is more about relations. So, if you are going kind of getting a job, say in the United States of America, many people would say, why are you running after money, why don't you stay back with your family, it is kind of more emotionally satisfying. So, there was a kind of a divide between the cash and emotion. Another alternative was external legal and institutional constraint or provision that deliberately restricts the market. So, the market is somewhere place where you will be regulated by law, whereas if you were in a, say, simple society or a non-Western society, the economic transactions were not limited by the market regulations. So, if we look into this discussion of Vivian Zeliger, we see that a lot of important contribution has been done, and we can kind of summarize this into three key principles. Number one, social actors simultaneously pursue a mix of economic and non-economic objective. Instrumental action cost benefit decisions are accompanied by social recognition, values and search for powers. Number two, economic action is always rooted in network of interpersonal relation, and the structural dimension play a role that is independent of individual motive. Third, social institutions do not emerge as a mechanical response to solve efficiency problem, but are socially constructed. So, by looking into the market from a cultural perspective enables us to understand the theoretical alternative to the purely instrumental understanding of modern market. With this, I come to an end of the lecture. Thank you.